Hello, and welcome to our SIGNL4 integration series. Today we're going to go over the integration with Derdack SIGNL4 and the Kasaya product. Here we'll have our SIGNL4 web portal as well as our SIGNL4 mobile app on the right hand side. Today I'm going to be a brand new SIGNL4 customer whose company is currently using the Kasaya product to create and monitor tickets for any incoming service requests and or issues as they arise. So what I need to do is be able to integrate this Kasaya into my SIGNL4 subscription so that I can alert my users via push notifications, SMS, and voice calls, and not just a simple email that comes with the Kasaya product. So now let me head on over back to my SIGNL4 web portal. So inside the web portal, if I click on my Teams option, inside here I'll see a list of all of my teams, and in this particular case, we're just going to go ahead and use the Chaos Control team. So if I click under the Apps option, inside of here we're going to see the option for Kasaya. Now if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see here that I already have a Kasaya connector created, but I'm actually going to scroll down a little bit more. And inside of here, when we get down to the alphabetical order, I get down to the K's, I'll see the Kasaya BMS connection in here. And if I go ahead and click on this Create button, I'll be able to create an all-new connection with my Kasaya. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to enter in your Kasaya instance URL. Next thing we need is we actually need a username and password for a Kasaya user. So if I go back into my Kasaya and I go into the admin console and then I go into my HR and then the employees menu option, we'll see that we have a list of employees here. And included in that list is one we specifically named SIGNL4 because this is the username and password that we're going to give to Kasaya for us to be able to use our options. So we need to go ahead and create this. We need to make sure that multi-factor authentication is not turned on for this user. And it needs to be able to have a email address as well as just the SIGNL4 user. In addition to creating it, you should give it the administrator job title as well as the administrator employee and security roles to ensure that it has the rights needed to be able to send the information to and from to make sure that your users are getting the most up-to-date information as possible. So now once this user is created, we need to head on back over to our SIGNL4 and we want to go ahead and put in that username and password as well as for your company name, which in our case is SIGNL. However, your company name could be whatever you guys have named it inside the Kasaya product. Next up is we need to map the SIGNL4 statuses to your Kasaya statuses. And by default, what we're going to do is a new status in SIGNL4 is going to be the same as the new status in Kasaya. And then the acknowledged status in SIGNL4 is going to be the in progress status in Kasaya. And then finally, for the closed status inside of SIGNL4, we're going to use the completed status inside of Kasaya. Now these fields are editable and you can input any status that you wish to use as it best fits your needs. However, make sure that it is typed correctly inside this field without any extra spaces and case sensitive to ensure that we can map our system over to your Kasaya system to ensure that your ticket's status is updating in both systems as you work through the tickets. Next up after that, we actually have our status mappings, and by default, these are all going to be selected, and that's just letting you know that when something is updated in Kasaya, it's going to be acknowledged in SIGNL4 versus or closed in SIGNL4, depending on what the update is. And when we update or close in SIGNL4, we'll send those updates back to Kasaya. So this allows you to, if you do not wish to close the tickets, from one system to the other, you can simply uncheck these two closed options, and that will ensure that only the acknowledgments are going into the Kasaya system and not the actual closures. But for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and leave this selected on. Now, the next couple of options are filters of what kind of tickets you want to pull from Kasaya into SIGNL4. So by default, we're looking at level 1 and level 2 support, as well as incident, problem, change requests, and service requests ticket types. Now you can update both of these fields to include any queue and or ticket types that you wish for SIGNL4 to query and receive the tickets from, and remove any ones that you wish it for not to receive those tickets from. And this allows you to make sure that you can receive only the tickets that you wish to inside of your SIGNL4 going from your Kasaya system. And the next option works the same way with the ticket priorities. And by default, we use all of the basic Kasaya options of high, low, medium, very high, and very low. Now our next field down here is our note type. And this is going to be how the notes are entered inside of Kasaya. And by default, we're choosing an email sent. However, you can choose email received, general, or phone call. And this is just going to, every time you do an update inside of SIGNL4, it puts a note inside the Kasaya ticket. And this is just what that note is labeled as. So it's really informational purposes, so you choose whichever option best fits your system, and we can go from there. Now, my next options down here all have to do with notes. When an event happens in SIGNL4, what is the note that you wish to write to your Kasaya system? And you can turn off all of your notes simply by turning off this little toggle here. However, we're going to keep this on, and by default, we're just going to keep the options that we have here. And you'll notice a signal is created inside of SIGNL4. We have a note inside of Kasaya for that, as well as when the signal is acknowledged, closed, escalated, and or unacknowledged/unclosed inside of SIGNL4. All of those will leave a note inside of your Kasaya ticket. Now, the last option we have down here is when do you want to assign an agent inside of your Kasaya tickets. And by default, we have it whenever the ticket is acknowledged. This means when a ticket goes into SIGNL4, it creates a signal. When that signal is acknowledged by a current SIGNL4 user, we are going to take that user, and assuming that that user is inside of your Kasaya, which is going to be matched on email address, then we are going to assign that user to the ticket inside of Kasaya. And we can also do this as well when signals are closed. And this allows you to, if one user acknowledges but another user closes, we will see both of those users assigned to that ticket at different times. So now, once that's all done, we just click on the Create button, and this will create our brand new Kasaya connector. So if I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one because I don't want to create a second one for my team, and I'm going to open up my existing Kasaya connector, and we'll see here that we have all of our options currently set, with the one exception of we only are assigning an agent on a signal acknowledgement. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to select Signals Closed, and click on the Save button. So now we'll actually see the user assignment change on both assignment and ticket closure. Excellent. Now that this is closed, next up I want to see this in action. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my Signals option here in the web portal. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my Kasaya. And I'm going to go back to my Home tab and under My Tickets. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the New Ticket button here. So I'm just creating a quick and simple ticket just so we can see all this in action. So I created a template just to give it some data. The source, as far as SIGNL4 is concerned, does not matter. However, whichever option that you would choose for an incoming ticket, we'll make sure to choose that option again. For my instance, right this second, I'm going to choose the. Next up, I just click on the Save option, and now we have the ticket created. So now the very next time that SIGNL4 polls the Kasaya for tickets, it's going to find this new ticket that it's never found before, and then pull it over into SIGNL4 as an event, and then create a signal from this ticket event inside of SIGNL4. So if I go back over here to my SIGNL4 team, we can actually see this occur when it hits the system. So here we see that this new ticket just came in. We'll see it in both the mobile app here with the number 1 in the orange circle, as well as in the web portal. We see we have a ticket that just came in today with the signal state of new, and that it's been transmitted as in sent to our users. So in the web portal, if I just click on this incident, we will see that we have the acknowledge and close buttons, as well as the information that came with the ticket itself. So now if I navigate over here to my phone, you'll see that I got this big orange circular 1 now. So now if I go ahead and click on this, it's going to open up to all of my active tickets, which in this case is just this one. And if I click on the ticket, I can open it up and see all the same information we saw in the web portal, but now it's in my mobile app, for which I was alerted for, and can now access and acknowledge or close the email from my mobile app without having to go back to my computer and log in. I also have the option to down here at the bottom, this chat and annotations, I can send a message to my users letting them know that I'm working on this so they don't need to. So now before I do anything else, what I want to do is I actually want to go back and look at my Kasaya ticket to see that the ticket creation event kicked off, and I can actually see that inside the ticket. So if I click back on my Kasaya ticket and I refresh the ticket, we'll now see this option appear that says a signal for this ticket was created inside of SIGNL4. So it lets us know that the ticket was created and sent to SIGNL4, and SIGNL4 now has the ticket. Now if I go back over here to my mobile app and I click on this little question mark, that'll allow me to acknowledge the ticket, which I can also do towards the top here using the ACK button. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And you'll see that now that the circle up here, the question mark goes away. It shows my user as well as the blue circle letting me know that it was acknowledged by a user, in this case my user. And you'll actually notice that the action button changes from ACK to UNACK to let you remove an acknowledgement if needed. Now inside of my Kasaya ticket, if I go ahead and refresh again, we'll now see that my user, who happens to be named Yoda, has acknowledged his ticket inside of SIGNL4. And we'll see that the status changed from new to in progress because those are the statuses I had inside of my SIGNL4 connector. So next up, let me go ahead and unacknowledge the ticket. So I'm going to remove the acknowledgement from my ticket. So we'll see that the SIGNL4 ticket goes back to the question mark and removes my photo. And if I come back over here inside of Kasaya and refresh again, we're actually going to see that the status went from in progress back to new, and we'll see that the user has unacknowledged his ticket inside of SIGNL4. So next up, what I want to do is I actually want to scroll down here and add a note inside of SIGNL4, just to let my team know that I'm working on this issue. So I click on that send button, and we'll see that the ticket has the note attached to it. And if I go back over here to my Kasaya, we'll actually see that the user and then the text that he wrote shows up as a note inside of the Kasaya ticket. This allows you to keep all the information in one place so your users only have to access either SIGNL4 or Kasaya, no reason to do both, and you can actually solve and work on the issues through this system. So next up, what I want to actually do is I want to scroll back up to the top, and I'm just going to close my ticket. I'm not going to bother acknowledging it. I'm just going to say it's worked on. I'm closing it. In this case, most times you would go ahead and acknowledge it, but in this case, I'm just going to close it. And you'll see that my ticket goes to a gray color, puts my user back inside of the assignee box at the top. And now if I go back over to my Kasaya and refresh one more time, we're actually going to see that the status went from new directly to completed without hitting the acknowledge status in the middle because we just closed and didn't acknowledge. And we'll also get a note that says Yoda has closed this ticket signal inside of SIGNL4, letting you know that this user has closed the ticket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new ticket. Okay, so now we have a new ticket created, and in just a minute we'll see this ticket carry over to our SIGNL4 system again. Okay, so now we see our new ticket show up in both instances. So if I go ahead and open it up, this time I'm going to do the acknowledgement in the web portal, just so we can see that there's no difference between the acknowledgements here and the acknowledgements in the mobile app as far as the Kasaya ticket is concerned. So I click on the acknowledge button, and we'll see that we have the acknowledgement by my user and the time and how long the ticket was open. Next up, if I go over here to my Kasaya ticket and refresh, we'll see the ticket creation as well as the acknowledgement actions inside the Kasaya notes. We'll actually see that it is assigned to my user because I'm the user that acknowledged the ticket inside of SIGNL4, so it matched my email addresses and put me as the assignee inside of Kasaya. Now what I want to do is I actually want to see this two-way communication work from the Kasaya system over to the SIGNL4 system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close the ticket inside of Kasaya, and we'll actually see this closure carry forward into the SIGNL4 alert. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my ticket so we'll actually see it here. And let me add a note here. And now we'll see inside the Kasaya ticket that status is completed, ticket is closed, the note from when I click on the complete button, and the status change. Now let me go back to my SIGNL4 ticket. I'm going to open this up. And in a minute or so, we're actually going to see this event carry forth into SIGNL4 and close this ticket inside of SIGNL4. And as you can see here, we see that the Kasaya closure has carried forth into SIGNL4, and you'll see by the icon at the top that it's showing the system icon, letting you know that this was closed by the system. And if I scroll down all the way down to the bottom here, you'll actually see the event coming from Kasaya for the ticket closure, closed by the system or the API, which in our case was closed by the Kasaya system using the API. So now we want to actually see the phone call, the SMS, and the push notification come through. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and create a new Kasaya ticket. And when I save this and send it, it's going to go over to SIGNL4 and create a new signal. And once this signal is created, it's going to alert me via push notification, SMS, and a phone call all immediately upon ticket creation, because that's the way I have my notification profile set up. So we'll see there that my ticket was created. We can hear the SIGNL4 phone call ringing. I'm going to go ahead and decline this. And now you'll see that I have a new SMS text message, and if I open it up, it's a Kasaya ticket. And if I go out of that and go back down and pull down, we'll actually see the push notification came through as well. So we'll see that the system contacted me in all the ways that we told it to in my notification pattern. And if I open up the ticket inside of the SIGNL4 web portal, I can scroll down and we'll see that it was delivered to my phone call, delivered my SMS message, and transmitted to my iPhone app, showing me that it was contacted using my notification profile in all three methods. This is just some of the way we can use SIGNL4 to help fill in some of the holes left with the Kasaya app, and how we can help make sure that your users get the alerts no matter where they're at and in the best, most timely manner possible. You can sign up for a free SIGNL4 trial at signl4.com/free-trial-test. And this is a completely free trial for 30 days with no credit card required. Thank you and have a nice day.